Well, let's talk to security and intelligence expert from the University of Buckingham, Anthony Glees. Anthony, good afternoon to you. Can you shed some light on why the anti-terrorism team are assisting in the investigation with this? Because the Home Secretary's made it very clear that we are not to jump to any conclusions.
Well, it's a very good question. And at first we were told this was not an incident in which the counter-terrorism police were going to be involved. Police asked us not to speculate, but that is, of course, completely impossible in today's environment. And as everybody knows, we've not only seen scenes of great bravery by the police arresting the suspect, but also the people of Nottingham need to have some kind of reassurance that this incident is being properly understood. And I think that's why the counter-terrorist police have been involved in this. What's going on? It is the same three things that we've been talking about ever since the awful incident took place. It could be a madman. It could be an Islamist fanatic. It could be a right-wing fanatic. And the news that this is somebody, the alleged suspect is somebody who came to this country lawfully 10 years ago from West Africa, adds a further issue that will need to be looked at. Of course, we know there are plenty of killers, homegrown British born and bred killers, people who torture their children and murder them and so on. However, the government has got a duty to keep people as safe as is possible. And we've had a spate of lone wolf terror attacks. We've had them in the United Kingdom, particularly in 2017. I think there were 5 that year of people using vans and knives to kill and maim others. We had the attack in Annecy in France just a few days ago. And we know that if these people are mad, if they're Islamists or if they're right-wing fanatics, the idea of a copycat killing will appeal to them. So the counter-terrorist police are now going to go through every shred of evidence to see if there's any sign of radicalization, any sign of interference from whoever it may be. And I think that is a very good sign, because the bottom line is, whatever this guy's motive, it's terror. And people won't have it in this country, nor should they.
Well, where does this leave the security teams now, the security services, in terms of, as you say, incidents like this prompt other people to carry out incidents? Is there going to be an increased concern about chatter, increased security concerns that we should actually all be a little bit more aware of?
Well, indeed, I think we should. And as you in another interview with you, I already said it's very quick for the cops to say, oh, this person is mentally ill. British cops, but also continental European cops say this. And the independent advisor on counter-terrorist legislation has himself said they're too quick to go to this. Of course, you're bonkers if you want to kill other people, particularly lovely young students who've got their lives ahead of them. You're obviously not normal, but that's not really the point. The point is, how can we identify the sort of people who might be drawn into this violence, and what should we do about it, whether they're mentally ill, whether they're politically motivated or not. And I do think we need to be very careful if we give people the impression that we will do anything other than hunt down anyone who either comes to this country or is in this country who thinks that their grievances legitimate violent attacks on others. There are people who hate Britain. We saw that again in 2017. There are people who have a grudge against the system. But as your security editor was making clear, we now know there was also an attempted attack on a hostel for people. That all suggests, everything suggests to me, this was premeditated. The knives, the black uniform, yes, this was premeditated. And it's answering those questions that the counter-terrorist police, going through the mobile phones, going through all the links, retracing the steps, walking the cat back, as it's called in intelligence terms, walking the cat back, finding out what exactly led to this. Only that, doing that will allow us to prevent similar attacks as far as we are able in the future. And that's not to kind of upset people and make them panic. It's quite the reverse. With good security, people feel safer.
Yeah, absolutely. Anthony Glees, good to see you this afternoon. Thanks for your time. And as I say, this suspect is now in police custody, being questioned, not being too cooperative, so we understand, according to Mark White at the moment, but still just a suspect at this stage.